Yep.
It's a very, very interesting season. Even in France, they don't even know if PSG will still win it because it's just a 1 point difference. Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Taiwo Nojobi, your host once again on Another Sismico Sports. We're always excited to bring you guys unfiltered opinions, sharp analysis, and some big love for football, the Premier League, and everything that cuts across the world of sports. This is run by Taiwo, your commentator, analyst, and unapologetic fan of the game. I'm always excited, when I have my key friends around. We have Joshua, we have Crespo, we have Emmanuel. We're going to just break it down. Today's going to be a bit different because now we're looking more at the ranking. We have about 7 games to the end of the season on the Premier League. Most of the sports across the US and North America are already rounding off. The world of hockey, basketball, they're rounding off already for the postseason. But the Premier League is going to be very interesting for the next seven games that are left. I'll give my friends 1 or 2 minutes just to give us some 2 cents before we go straight into the finals of the Carabao Cup. So Crespo, give it your shot.
Yeah, thanks once again. It's nice to be back. It's good to see the guys come back, and we are not on break, even though the Premiership is on break. We're not on
Exactly.
break, and also it'd be nice to discuss the League Cup final with Ima. I'd like to hear what he has to say about Arsenal, and if they're actually going trophyless or the treble, because it was the quadruple before. Now is the treble. It's nice to be with you guys.
Yeah, thanks, someone. Joshua?
Yeah, I mean, happy to be back. I talk about the games that happened last week. We know there's a break, national week games this weekend, but yeah, happy to be back. And again, I look forward to this on. I think we started on Thursdays now. It's like more of Fridays now, so this is almost like a Friday hangouts. First is owing us a hangout, so
Yeah.
one of these days we'll take this podcast to our location.
Yeah,
that
true.
would be
That's
nice.
true.
Yeah, that would be
Those
nice.
are things that are in the pipeline. That's very
But
good.
yeah, happy to be back and talk about football.
Dr. Emmanuel of the New Sorry, I wanted to say New World Revolution.
Please. Just Emmanuel is fine.
Emmanuel is fine. Okay.
Yeah, happy to be here, man. Happy to be here. Looking forward to it. It's been a wonderful, a bit boring week without much football. So
much football, yeah.
Yeah, but happy to be here to talk about what we have to discuss. The Carabao Cup final is one place to start from, like you said, Taiwo. So looking forward to it.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just jump right into it, and I'll probably just allow Crespo, give me what you think about what happened in the Carabao finals. Leading up to that finals, there was a lot of expectations coming from Arsenal. The belief generally, especially in the marketplace, was let Arsenal put at least this in the bag and give us that idea that the season is going to come out with more trophies, as the case may be. But they went into that match. I saw a very flat defensive line. Also, I don't know whether it's me, but I have a problem with the choice of people or choice of players that were chosen to play that match. I don't know whether it's because of injuries or maybe because they probably didn't give that cup that level of importance. But let me just allow Crespo go first and give us what your 3 cents is.
Yeah, the game was was a good game, I must say. For neutrals, it was a good game. However, for Arsenal, I gave before the game, I gave the game to Arsenal because I felt their performance against City in the league this season really showed that they were now ready to, really knock City off the perch. But for some reasons, I don't want to give excuses to Arsenal because like they have the best squad. We all said that from the beginning of the season. So it would be unfair if we now say, oh, they've got injuries. That's why they are not doing well. So I really don't want to give them the slack of they had some injured players. Yes, they had some injured players. However, City also had serious conditions, like the backline of City. In a long time, I've not seen that backline play together, However, I just feel Arsenal just didn't turn up on the night. For some reasons I really can't put my fingers on. I feel they had City to take on. Again, City did what they usually do, play very high line, and for some reason I didn't see Arsenal break that high line throughout the game. So he begs to ask that did Arsenal really take that game seriously? Again, I would think they did. So again, at the end of the day, I just think we just need to give kudos to City because I'm sure the bookmakers didn't give City that game. However, they stuck and they dug deep. The second half was all City, in my opinion. They didn't give Arsenal any chance, and I would say kudos to them. They deserve the winners. And I think for Arsenal, it's better luck next time. But more importantly, they need to get something in the bag. Like you said, I started the show. Like
Yeah.
winning that League Cup would have just given, would have taken that pressure off them. Like, you know what,
Off the-
we're here,
Mhm.
and we can do this, And they've put themselves in another situation. And like we've said all season, Arsenal is in Arsenal's hand. Whatever they do with this season, it's
It's in their hands.
in their hands, So I would really think they would bounce back and not let that deter them from winning the league. I think the league should be their priority. They shouldn't
Priority, yeah.
want to be too spread thin. Because if they spread themselves too thin, they may end up not getting anything. But I
Yeah.
think they should really focus on getting the league, win the games they need to win, the next few games, and just send a signal that come. That was a blip. Is why really here. So again, I'll say kudos to City for digging deep, and also Arsenal. They need to take winning certain games more seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in alignment with what you said, Arsenal is they're in a good position because they're amongst I will call them 7 to 8 teams that have very, very easy fixtures between now and the end of the season, compared to a Tottenham of this world that needs they need to win some more games to be able to survive dropping into the relegation zone. Emmanuel, I'll allow you just take your view on the Carabao Cup final. What do you think went wrong? Do you have issues with the choice of players that,
Well, I mean,
choice of keeper.
Yeah, choice of
keeper.
it's choice of keeper. That's the main thing, right? I mean, looking at that, I don't think personally the why we lost the game was because of Kepa. He made a mistake, but I don't think that's why Arsenal lost that game. Arsenal lost that game because of, I guess, our tactics. Again, Kepa's weakness is also shown through because the fact that he couldn't pass the ball properly. What Man City did, they just lined up their four attacking players, and close to Arsenal's box. They were not attacking Kepa. They just left the guy with the ball because they couldn't do much with the ball, which was quite shocking to see, right? They couldn't do much with the ball, so he couldn't even pass it above them. Because passing the ball them would mean getting it to a Man City defender who then pass it to a Man City midfielder. And Rodri and what's his name and Bernardo Silva were really good on the day. Like they had one of the best games that they could ever have together. So that's the reason why I think. So it wasn't Kepa. Yes, he made a mistake that left the first goal, but that first goal came because Arsenal was being attacked. We were just at the edge of our boxes, trying to prevent them from scoring. But Man City being what they know what they do, they will look for a way.
Yeah.
So again, it's a combination of the tactics that I decided to go with, making the players defend a bit more. Secondly, Hincapié already got the yellow card in the first half.
Okay.
I didn't when I saw him coming for the second half, I was very surprised him coming for the second half. I was like, why not bring in Calafiori, right? Because clearly he was being troubled by Semenyo on the right, and Czech was also already coming there to come and support him. Because he knew that there was a problem there. Right, so I expected to have taken out Hincapié immediately after the first half. I mean, he survived first half. We couldn't have let him come back for the second because the two crosses that led to the goal came from that right wing. Right, so you could have taken him out, and then so I mean, we saw the signs in the first half. The first 20 minutes of the game was good. Arsenal attacked very well in the first 20 minutes. We got chances to score. Havertz could have scored. Saka could have scored.
Yep.
But it didn't happen. And then by the time we got to 30, 40 minutes, then passes now came alive. They started pressing us. So when I saw that happen, I was a bit worried. And then when the second half started, the same thing on. And I'm like, how come I didn't change something at that point in time? Could have brought in someone else, who can, help Hincapié or taking out Hincapié one. Maybe brought in, I didn't throw it all out, bring in Max Naumann or something. Take out somebody who can, bring someone who can run with the ball. Or tell Havertz to play a different role in the game, play that bring in the midfield and help to move the ball around a bit more, which I know he can do to an extent. Not as good as Eze Odegaard, but at least he can try, right? So it was a mixture of those sort of things that made us lose that game, and it was quite a pain to see that. Latara had no response. Yes, I know we're missing key players, Eze and Odegaard. I mean, two of your most crazy players were not on the pitch, to be fair, right? So missing them too is a big loss. But we have people who could have done that role and done it so well. When Madueke came, he made a good impact, better than Saka was doing when he was on that right wing for Arsenal. So could you have changed it up a bit earlier, bring him, or started Madueke, for example, put Saka in the middle?
Oh no, Madueke is injured. I saw him on
Yeah,
like
no, I know, he was injured after
practice.
that game, but before the game, he
Yeah,
wasn't
was
injured.
injured,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. So could they have put Saka on the middle, to play the middle and then put Madueke on the wings? Look for something, do something different. Could they have rested, they kept Havertz off on the bench for now. Let Saka start in the middle and then bring him out later or something. So, or taking Jokeres up at some point and brought in, Jesus earlier or brought in. So I felt like the tactics didn't really help us, right? And that's where I felt that we fell short. Not a lot of people saying Kepa was a problem. I don't think Kepa was a problem. Yes, he made a mistake, which could happen to anybody. Raya too has made some mistakes in some games as well that led to goals. Let's face it, even this season too.
Yeah.
So or saying that Kepa, because he made a mistake, that lost the game, is not that is not fair to Kepa. Because to be fair, he brought us this finals competition. We played was it Newcastle we played already? No, not Newcastle, we played Chelsea. Home and away, the Carabao Cup. Kepa was the one in goal, right? And Chelsea had some very good players as well who can hurt you any day. So saying Kepa was a problem, I don't think that is fair. It's just the fact that we just didn't turn up properly on the day, which is a shame because for this title, we've not won a title since 2020. So we waited this long to win a title and you get the finals and you put that kind of performance, which was quite disappointing from both Arsenal, the players, and the Arteta. But again, look at the bigger picture. It's Man City you're playing. You're not talking about a port. Man City is a good side anything. Guardiola is the best, one of the coaches in the world currently. On current rating, is actually the best. He won the most number of trophies, 40 trophies in his career. Man City currently. So he's a good. He knows how to change a game, right? He knows what to do. He knows the tactics. Yes, maybe a few times he's not got it right in some games, but that game showed the class that Guardiola has. It was a class performance from Man City. It was a great class performance from them, and it was unfortunate that Arteta could not change the tactics to adapt to what Man City was doing to try to take the game to them. Because the point is, before the game, like Prespo said, everybody thought Arsenal would win it. I thought Arsenal would win because Man City didn't have key defenders on the pitch. He was not playing. No Vardio, no John Stones, no what's the guy, Ruben Diaz. So you have Ake, who had barely played this season, and Kusanov, who we know is not a very strong defender compared to the other ones that I just mentioned. So that's why they shocked that Arsenal didn't take advantage of those to do a bit better, right? But that's it. It's just one that we have to learn from, right? And not let it affect our form in the Premier League, because Premier League is just the one that it's looking like we're going to get over the line. FA Cup is still far, right? Premier League is far as well, but the Premier League is one that it's looking like currently that we have in the bag already, the way things are going. And just so that we're able to win our next 2-3 games, and that's where we are by then. But something that Arsenal should learn from and just move forward. I think it's gone, right? So it's just good to have that in the bag, and your targets in the 3, right? So I mean, winning one gives you confidence to go for the other ones, right? So now that we're one, so psychologically on the players, I don't know how they're feeling right now. So they need a lot more work to get to to get them motivated again. But it is what it is. We just have to keep going, keep winning all our games, and see where we get to by the end of the season. But again, congrats to Man City. They deserved the win. They were really good.
That's probably the only thing they win this season, because Arsenal needs to get it done more than ever. I think about 3 or 4 of their players refused to join for international duty this week, just to get them prepared mentally, get their head in the game, and get everybody aligned for what is required. All you need is 7 games. If I told you just win 7 games at least, just to
they just
for
need
at least
5
to save your
games.
life.
5 games.
It's basically 5 games they
wins.
really did.
Yeah.
So once they can get 5 games out of the way, I think they'll be better. Joshua, you want to just chime in on this before we go into the Lanonas' ranking?
Yeah. I mean, I think Emmanuel has made most of the points I wanted to talk about of how, I mean, going into the game, I thought, Arsenal would win. Looking at the City lineup, especially the back, I was like, oh my God, this is juicy for Arsenal. Like, Arsenal would be able to take on that defense really well. And they were also solid in midfield. I mean, they had Havertz, Declan Rice, Zubimendi. So, it was also going to be like a battle of the midfield and be more physical in how they play. And City just having Rodri and Bernardo in there. But again, like Emmanuel said, it was a tactical masterclass from Pep Guardiola of how he intentionally kept their high line and pressed Arsenal and allowed them to have the ball and told them to try to build that from the back. I don't know if Kepa and Go have made that decision for him or he was going to do that anyway, but you could see that they wanted Arsenal to beat for the back and then press. And how you know is that the first kickoff, when Man City would kick off, Bernardo Silva took the kickoff and kicked it out to the cross.
Exactly.
Immediately
Yeah.
put them up front to Kepa
Yeah.
at the defense line. Like, and that's when I was like, okay, serious. Like, this is a very unusual Kepa. Like, it was like he kicked the ball out and like immediately like initiated that press to show you that we are here for business. So, and again, first half was a bit okay for Arsenal, but it was just surprising to see second half like Arsenal not coping or not trying to change with that. I mean, he didn't make a change until the first goal came in, where he was trying to bring in Madueke and all of that. Before you know it, 3 minutes later, the second goal came in, and from there was pretty much game over. There was really no attacking intent from Arsenal. Really, really, really disappointed with the attacking play. Like Saka has been off by his standards a lot this season. I don't know if that's due to Odegaard being absent or Ben White being absent, because he likes that triangle with those two guys, Odegaard and Ben White. Him coming from the right, he loves those triangles. Are like Eze is a bit different from Odegaard. So maybe that has affected him in a bit, but I wouldn't know. But again, masterclass from Man City. This is one of the best games I've seen them play this season, and you could see that they wanted it. They really wanted it more. And like you said, this might be the only thing they get to win, right? I know they are still in the FA Cup, but I think they play Liverpool, which is a tough game. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But again, it was masterclass, and Arsenal were able to find the answers. And again, this has just raised the question of, so what's going to happen in the league? I mean, this would have been very interesting if City had not dropped the points that they dropped earlier, and it was still like 4 points with the game in hand.
Exactly.
With that game in hand is 1 point. They still play Man City at the Etihad. It would have just made the last 8 games or whatever like much more interesting. But I still don't think anything will change. I think Arsenal will still win the league, because I don't think Man City would be able to catch up because of the deficit they have. I mean, even if they were to win the outstanding, beat Arsenal, they'll still be 3 points behind, I think. So they don't need Arsenal to falter. But again, this is where Arsenal just needs to press on the gas and just the Premier League is their bread and butter. That's the one they should secure.
Yeah.
Right. And then build from there, because again, like I said, I mean, it's belong. This is the one they want, like, so, and it's in their hands now. I don't think they would bottle it. I think they will go on eventually to win the league. But again, it's good for Man City, good for Pep to have a trophy and have something to celebrate in what has kind of been a very substandard turbulent season for them. I know they're still rebuilding, but again, good win anytime to lift a trophy, and just gives Arsenal a reality check. That okay, we need to go finish this up.
Yeah, they're already preparing for their parade. They're going to walk on the streets of London with that cup.
Yeah, Emmanuel is going to London.
Yeah, Emmanuel is going to.
I have to go. Don't book my flight. I'll go. Also, you can't,
Emmanuel will go.
Now, money they find out to go for the. I want to go, man. It's just
No,
yeah. You need to deserve it.
I hope it's not going to be like the bus that just moved in the middle of Liverpool zone, and because those guys were vexing, they just drove in the middle of those fans. We don't want that this time. So we have enough police in the streets of London to make sure that they celebrate this time around.
Yeah.
So today I decided to go in a different direction. I was thinking, because we have 7 games to the end, let's just try and do some kind of a Lanonasis power ranking to give some kind of prediction of how the table will end. And just for us to have something to be able to argue about, what we can challenge, I've decided to just come up with what I call like my top 4, what my top 4 will look like. And some of them are, some of them have reasons for me to be able to justify it. And I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to just, try and banter it and see why. So clearly, title contenders, Arsenal will be number 1. And today, they are still the best balance of attack that you have in the league. They are plus 39 on goal difference, as presently constructed as it stands today. They've showed that dominance that we're talking about, and that's why they are number 1 in my list. I think that when it comes to mental dominance, they are slightly above Man City this season. And that is why it is showing on my table for the Lanonasis ranking. On my number 2, I'll just talk about the top 4. They give Crespo the opportunity to challenge it, or maybe agree with me, as the case may be. For Manchester City, they are second on my table. They're still the most dangerous team after Arsenal. And on their day, they can really, even though they've had only 5 losses in 30 games, which is quite high by their own standards. And, these were some of the things I wrote about that. On a good day, if Man City was as good as they were, you won't be getting them having 5 losses even at this time of the season. Their attack is good, but they are number 2, and they are always trending to be finishing the season at number 2, except something different just happens. But based on my prediction, they should be number 2. But my number 3 is a bit different, and I chose Aston Villa for number 3. To me, outside the top 2, they are the team that is improving, even though Man U is also improving. They dropped some matches, they still drew. They still drew some days ago. But Aston Villa, I don't know why I just see them as number 3. Emery's structure for me is beginning to catch some fire. You understand? And they're grinding out results. But I still feel that this 3 is a bit controversial, but they are my number 3 on my list. And I thought about it a bit well before I just agreed. Presently, now they are 4th on the table, but I feel they'll finish number 3. Manchester United, in my own ranking, they should finish number 4. They are inconsistent, but I feel that they are also resilient a bit. You understand? The attack sometimes can give me a bit of a balance of it's tricky and, depending on how the chances come their way. But they are still a dangerous game. A dangerous team. And that's why I kept them as number 4. So, Crespo, do you agree with my top 4? What do you think? How do you think the ranking should be? What do you think should change, really?
I don't agree.
So people will say I respectfully disagree.
I respectfully,
No,
I
it's okay.
respectfully,
It's
I
okay. These are the things
respectfully
I want to
disagree.
hear.
Yeah,
Okay. So
one
what's your
of the
top
reasons
4?
why. So top 4, yes, I give it to Arsenal, number 1. Second position
Okay.
is Man City. Third position, I
Okay.
think Man U has every reason to remain on third position. Again, if we look at the
Okay.
games they have to the end of the season with Aston Villa, with Chelsea, with Liverpool, they have except for Chelsea now that is no longer in the Champions League. I think Chelsea is also out of the FA Cup, and so I think those 2 are the ones that are less busy going into the last 7 games
Yes,
compared to
that's
Aston
true.
Villa. I'm sure they'll be looking for every way to try and win the Europa League as a backdoor entrance into the Champions League. So that's a second chance of getting by them. So again, I'm going to go with United 3rd, and surprisingly, I think Chelsea will finish 4th.
Chelsea 4th.
Yeah, I'm going to give Chelsea 4th. Right now,
That's a
they have
big.
no business. Yeah, it's a big one. They have no business in any other tournament. They have just the
Okay.
league right in front of them, and I believe they have what it takes. I'm not sure they are. Okay, the only team they are playing that can be a banana peel for them will be playing Manchester United. I think they are
Okay.
going to face United. Apart from United, I'm not sure. I feel they have what it takes to win all or like get maximum points in the last 7 games or the last 6 games, except for United's game. So from that
Okay.
point of view, Liverpool is still in the Champions League. They've got a eye at doing well at the Champions League and also competing. I think they're also still in the FA Cup. So again,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the number of games these guys are playing across tournaments compared to United and Chelsea. So on that basis, I'm giving it to 3rd United, 4th Chelsea. And again, if you look at
Chelsea.
their goal difference also, these 2 teams have better goal differences than Aston Villa and Liverpool. I think mine is on plus 15 or plus 13, while Chelsea is on plus 16. So they are around about the same goal difference plus goals difference. And so again, I'll go for those guys as teams who can who can win games, compared to Liverpool, who is on and off. So my
Yeah.
3rd will be Man U, 4th will be Chelsea.
Chelsea. Okay, that's a good one. I think it's also a tenable approach. But looking at the next 7 games for Man U will be doing a Leeds 13th of April. They'll be playing against Leeds. They will also still face Chelsea.
Yes.
They'll still face Brentford. They'll still face Liverpool. They'll face Sunderland, Nottingham. Then finally Brighton, which to me is more like it's more like what I call an average pathway to be able to secure top 4. But I think Man U is happy. No matter the way it goes, they are just happy to qualify for an European competition, and that has to be Champions League.
Yeah,
Joshua,
absolutely.
just give me your your prediction of the top four, do you kind of agree with Crespo, or what do you think? And what's the criteria for your own? We can't hear you.
Okay, yeah. So I was just gonna say, like, I respectfully disagree with yours. For
Okay.
Crespo, I mean, ideally, like, I would want that to happen. I mean, I would pray that that happen. But I agree with him with Arsenal, Manchester City second, and Manchester United finishing third. The fourth position is what I'm really not sure. I really can't tell. I mean, it's still up for grabs. I think this will change right up to the end of the season. So between Aston Villa, Chelsea, Liverpool, whoever else. But what I would say is, if I were to put my money on someone now and just make a call now, I would say Liverpool would finish fourth.
Okay.
And that would be this can change, but if I were to put my money on it, I think I'll put my money on Liverpool finishing fourth to the end of the season. And I don't know if we'll still talk about it later, but again, of course, Salah announcing he's leaving at the end of the season. I just feel that could be like a boost for them also in a way. Think that him announcing this news, of course, he probably want to live on the high. It could boost the
Exactly.
morale of the team, of the squad, of the fans, and maybe that can push them to go on to finish the season qualifying for Champions League and maybe having a good run in the FA Cup. So I just feel like that news may just rejig the team and give them some belief. I know again it can be opposite, because again I remember when Jurgen Klopp was going to leave at the end of the season and Liverpool were still chasing the title at that point, and we thought like this would give them the
Spur
belief
them, yeah.
go over the line. But of course, and the reverse was the case in the time of Jurgen Klopp, and they weren't able to win the league. So, but I just think that this would boost Liverpool's morale, and I just think they have more characters, more leaders, and more match winners to be able to take a game by the scruff of the neck, probably more than Chelsea at this point in time. Aston Villa again faltering. Of course, they are still in, and we don't know how Champions League might affect Liverpool and Aston Villa, right? Depending on if Liverpool progress against PSG, if they go out, then they can focus on the league. Aston Villa have their Europa League, so they'll most likely go further in that. Without a large squad, they might not be able to cope on both fronts. But again, good news for them. If they win the Europa League, they play Champions League next season. So again, if you ask me, like, I would rather put all my money on winning the Europa League. That's a trophy for the club, and the European trophy for Emery and the team that really needs more money for them, and automatic qualification to
Champions League
Champions League,
slots.
more revenue for them next season. So again, it's almost like killing two birds with one stone, right? Going the Europa League route. So if I'm Emery, that's what I'll focus on, and leave Liverpool and Chelsea to fight for who finishes fourth.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good one. Emmanuel, do you want to give us your 3 cents on this one?
That's the first four, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think I agree with just like Joshua and Crespo. Taiwo, sorry, you're alone in this one, man.
Okay, that's okay.
I agree with Arsenal, Man City, and yeah, those two. But I mean, for Man City, Man U to be third on the table means that they're doing something right? Even though they picked up for much later in the season, right? So it's just what it is. I mean, getting Michael Carrick to come in, sort of has changed it for them. What he did was just put in the right place in the right places and led them to, to play to their strengths. And that's what has changed it for Man U. Aston Villa, we always knew that, there was something in there that, they were shooting way above their weight, right? At the earlier in the season. So where they are going currently, it looks like where they're going to end. My own prayer for them, I hope they don't go down to below fourth. Although there's about 7 points or 6 point gap between them and the fourth place Liverpool, fifth place Liverpool. So I just hope they don't go down below the Champions League, because they deserve to be there. I mean, given what they've done this season so far, they deserve to be, drawing with Arsenal at their home. They've gotten some good results this season so far that make me feel like it would be unfair for them not to get the Champions League spot, right? Going back to Arsenal has been very good this season. I mean, we know what they've done. Yes, they bought well. What Arsenal has done this is, you see the benefit of buying players that you need, not just buying players because they are available. players that you need for every position. I think it's 2 players for every position at least. Some they even have 3, right? If you count the right left back where they have Matthews, Kelly, Calafiori, and Nkapie, they have 3 players in that position. Attack, they have 3: Jesus, Eucharist, and Havertz. Three players that can play that number 9 for them. So they really bought well. Is it granted that these players they'll be there next season? I'm not sure. I think next season some of them go. Like I see Jesus leaving next season. I see I don't know what the plan for Matthews Kelly is, but you'd be sad to see him go because he's such a good player. I mean, remember what he did last season. So
yeah, I mean, what has really happened there? What has happened there?
Sorry?
I said, what has happened there? Like, it's
So, yeah, I think that's happened when you get some good quality players in. We all know. I mean, I like what I see from Nkapie and Calafiori when he has played. I like what I see from both of them. I don't know what's up with Matthews Kelly. It's quite shocking to see that he has dropped down the pecking order so far. That can't even have a game to play. Even the Carabao Cup games or even the FA Cup games, you hardly see him playing. I don't know if he was injured at a point, but I hear rumors are that he's not really happy. He can't be happy, right? Nobody's going to be happy not playing.
It's probably just signed his deal.
Yeah, they think to make it clear is that last season was an anomaly. Having him play those games last season was really not the norm because I mean he's 18 years of age, right? If we had this player last season, probably wouldn't have played that much. But that's a discussion for another day, right? It's good to see Arsenal doing very well. Man City too. I mean, to be fair to them, they've not really been the Man City we've seen in the previous years. Even last season to their point, they're not third last season, right? So from winning the Premier League 2 seasons ago to ending up third last season, and then this season now they're, we see where they are, and the gap between them and Man U on third place is just about 6 points. So I think just because it's just 2 games, right? That's why I don't think Arsenal have won the league just yet. Those points can still be cut short tomorrow by just 2 draws or 2 losses, right? So Man City they've tried so far. And again, I don't know if you heard about the 115 charges. There's an update on that they picked up that they might be wrapping up that discussion as soon as possible. Maybe it might end up
interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know where that would land, or if Pep ends up staying in Man City next year, they're going to be in the league next year. Because I'm hearing that there might be point deduction. That's what I'm hearing that's heading towards. Might be a point deduction for them. I don't know if this is going to be just this season alone or seasons prior to this one. That's still things ongoing. But so far, I think given results so far, I think they deserve to be second on the league table. So I think I'm happy with Arsenal, City, Man United, then Aston Villa. Aston Villa is just unraveling. We've seen where they should be. Really. My own fear is that I hope they don't go below the top position.
Okay. I think I like the way, I was able to get some more perspectives from the way you guys looked at it. And it also forms the reason why some of these rankings, they change almost every week, especially some injuries can also actually change how it looks like next week. The outlook can just change next week. But I like the way we look at it as the dark horse, the European push, and, different tiers. So tier 2, and that's from the 5th up onto 8th. And on my ranking, I have Chelsea, who are presently 6th, coming into my 5th. So they are quietly one of the second half teams, and they will most likely be showing some kind of desperation to remain. They've taken some hits, especially with the fine that they had to pay, but they look like they want to bounce back. And there are also some rumors around if they are going to be able to keep that coach, Rosno. And there's a little bit of a digression, and I just wanted to get your view, Joshua. Manchester United reached out to Luis Enrique of PSG, but he rejected their offer. What do you think will be going through the mind of a Michael Carrick? This is a guy that is already established. PSG has given him one of the longest contracts. I don't know if they've given him or they're even thinking about it, because they are thinking of making him their coach for another 10 years, which I've never really seen that contract in a long time. They want to give him an elongated contract that keeps him up until, I think, 2034 or something. I was looking at the owners of PSG talking like that. So now they extended him an offer. Manchester United gave him more money, but he turned down the offer. Where do you think that leaves Michael Carrick? Or generally, what do you think is wrong with Manchester United?
No, on the contrary, I don't think anything is wrong. I think it's normal. I think even Carrick should, if they are not looking, it's something going into the job would have been expecting that Manchester United are going to be looking out there to try to appoint a permanent manager. And all he can do, like you said on the show, is continue to do what he's been doing, which is auditioning for the job. And he's been doing really well. And at the end of the day, he's put himself in good stead to then even get the job on permanent basis at the end of the season. But again, he can't be too annoyed or critical with that. I mean, it's normal. He's there to
It's
do a
football.
job. He knows he's there as a caretaker manager, and that's what he's doing. And the club would use this time to source and see if they can get a permanent manager. And if they've not been able to get one by the end of the season, depending on when he finishes, which we all think he's going to finish third, which would be a remarkable finish um, for what he's done, for where he took the team from Ruben Amorim and even previously. So it would be a very, very good finish, and he can then table his case and to get the job on permanent basis. But for the other side on Luis Enrique, I think again, I mean, I would understand why he would reject it. It's I know that Manchester United is, I mean, apart from Real Madrid, probably also the biggest club in the world. So again, that alone is enticing. But considering what Luis Enrique has done in PSG, I think he would want to stay there for longer, and I guess that's why they're giving it long contract, because he's been able to mold this team into how he wants it. He's now like a Jurgen Klopp in Liverpool, Ferguson in Man U, or Pep in Man City. He's gained that status, winning treble, 6 trophies last season. He has a team where he wants, and you can see that with how he let Mbappe go, how he let also Donnarumma go after the treble winning season. So even the person he bought to replace Donnarumma is now on the bench now. The Chevalier goalkeeper is now on the bench now.
Yeah.
He's another guy. So he's been able to, and they've given him that leeway, that freedom. Luis Ocampos, who is the sporting director, has given him that leeway to be able to own the club. So again, he's been given the license to build the team the way he wants it. I know Enrique, like everyone works, everyone runs, and no one is undroppable. So again, to then start that process with Manchester United might be something we wouldn't want to go in right now, because Manchester United are in a different phase. So again, it's a no-brainer. If I was the one, also I would stay in PSG and win as much as I can and build the legacy that he's already currently building in France. So, but again, they're shortage of top managers. I think this is where football is going now, where if you think of who are the top managers who are out of job now, maybe Zidane, Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, I'm even hearing that
said-
this
he
is
said
going to
he's
play for a
retired.
country. He may go back to coach at a country level now.
Who is that?
Zidane,
Yeah, they said after
Yeah.
World Cup, he's going to replace Deschamps at France. But
France.
he
He wants to
said,
coach at the country level now.
yeah, it just shows you how there's shortage of like top managers now. So again, so I'm sure Manchester United are searching, looking for who they can get. If at all not someone free, they'll have to get someone out of their current contract, which I guess is what they're trying to do with Enrique. But again, Carrick has done really well to this stage, and as we all know, it's one thing to do well as a caretaker manager. It's a whole different game, a whole different kettle
You
of fish
full-time coach.
to be a permanent manager, and history has shown us that all around football, even in Manchester United, right? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has taught us that in the past, where he was so good that they had to give him the full-time coach immediately. They didn't even wait to finish it, and we saw how that panned out. So not saying that will happen to Carrick, but again, it's a whole different ball game when he becomes a permanent manager. But we'll see how that develops, but I think Carrick has done a great job. Even if he doesn't get this role, his stock has risen. His cred has gone up, and his value has gone up for what he's done in this short period of time.
Yeah. I think the same thing also happened to Van Nistelrooy. Crespo, do you want to give me your 2 cents on this aspect as well? The fact that they approached Pep.
Enrique. So there are two ways to look at it. Joshua looked at it in one way. I also look at it. I also want to look at it from this other side of Enrique not wanting to be adventurous or not wanting to take risk. For most of the coaches that coached at PSG, they are not doing anything really. Although he stepped it up by conquering. Yeah, again, like any coach right now at PSG will win the league. There's almost no competition for them in the league with the kind of players they have. But he has gone a step ahead of all the other coaches by winning the Champions League for PSG. So again, I would say right now in terms of football quality, Man U is a step down for him. So if that's his reason for not coming to Man U, I hear that. But But however, Man U is also, like Joshua alluded to, like the second or third biggest club in the world. Why wouldn't you want to go there and show your stuff? There's much more competition in the English league. You're going to be competing with much more elite players, elite coaches. At that level, that's where you can actually show
Your stock.
your mastery, show how good you are. But again, he has chosen to stay, or he has declined that offer, which Man U is also a place that if you're not careful, your stock that has risen so high can get smashed. So one of the other things I also think of why he wouldn't want to come is right now, Man U can't buy a lot of players because of PSR. For a long time,
Yeah.
Man U hasn't really raked in a lot of money from Champions League, from tournaments, from trophies. So even if he's coming, he's going to want to bring in his kind of players. And we all know
Yeah.
that in the market, now anybody that is going to Man U is premium price. Nobody goes for the bottom
Yeah.
price. Once it's Man U, they put all the baggages and everything on those players because they know Man U is at the receiving end or at the short end of the stick. So again, I wouldn't think this is a good time for him to come to Man U. I think Man U again, like I support Man U. I think what's going on at United is we want to quicken our process, and if we're not careful, we'll do the errors we've done by bringing in Van Gaal, bringing in Mourinho, bringing in the big guys to just quick fix. Again, I'm not saying keep Carrick, but if you keep Carrick and you give him quality players, we might not win the league, but we'll compete. And I think that's where Manchester United is. I think we should focus on competing rather than winning the league. Let's just compete for the league title. Getting good players that Carrick can make use of, or whoever that comes in can make use of. Again, don't go all changing style of play. Just getting good players that can compete. Then in the next 2-3 years, then you can now start thinking of, okay, you want to dominate, you want to win the league, like Arsenal has done. Arsenal had to clear out the Lacazettes, the Aubameyang, the guys that were, the Deadwoods, and took a number of years. And look at them now. In the last 2-3 seasons, they've been competing, and I dare to say they might win the league next season again. So, those are the kind of conversations you want to have. And you don't want to do it just by bringing one man to the club. I'm not sure he will come in, get all the money, you sack him after 6 months, and he's going to cash out, like Amorim just did. So if we're going if mine wants to go in a particular direction, look for a coach that can work with what you have. Don't go guns blazing, blowing all the money, getting quality players that can compete for the league. And I think that would be so. Again, Luis Enrique is he's trying to save his ass. He doesn't want to get messed up, because if you go to Man right now and things go bad, your stock will just go down. So I would say a smart one from him, but at the same time, I think for a coach at his level, you want to really test your progress by going to a team like Man U to show what you can do.
What you can do, yeah. That's true. Okay, that's a good one. At least something to really talk about while we go back to the ranking. And I will just go straight to Emmanuel. I know that if you look at my list, top 4, the fourth one was a big contention when you guys give your own verdict. But I'll just continue with the ranking on the next tier, which is from 5th to 10th. And we can now, just give our own verdict of what you think the positioning will be. On my list, I already put Chelsea as number 5, and that was because they already have an existing plus 15 goal difference and they've showed improvement. And it's a young team that I feel that can push for at least top 5. On 6th was because of the fact that Liverpool was still a bit shaky, especially in their defense. I put them as 6th. They are not consistent, as the case may be. And, I left them as number 6. And the fact that they are still overwhelmed with the fact that they're still in Champions League. So we're not sure of how it's going to turn out to be. So, but I left Brentford as my number 7th. And to me, I see them as overachievers. They already are overachieving this season. But I kept them as number 7th. I know there may be some banter around whether they will still keep that number 7. Everton to try their best this season. They are most likely going to finish at number 8 based on my power ranking. Their defense shows some kind of identity, and with David Moyes going back there, it looks like they are they're really listening to him and he's working out things well for them. So, but I decided that my number 9 team was going to be Brighton. I'm beginning to see them being tactically sharp towards these last few games of the season. And I feel that they can still, break into presently on the table they are 10th, but I put them as number 9 on my ranking. And number 10, I put Fulham. Fulham should be able to have a solid mid-table form and just stay there, particularly because they are not spectacular, but they are reliable. They have the human resource that can help them get it done. So Emmanuel, what do you think about my ranking from 5th to 10th? Do you agree with it, or how do you want to move it around?
Well, I mean, great work, Taiwo. Because of
Okay.
did this together. Yeah, I think personally, I'll go with Liverpool being number 5 and Chelsea number 6.
Okay.
And
Okay, just
clearly, I think Liverpool has better quality players than Chelsea. I think they do. More mature players. I mean, Chelsea has good players, but I don't know what to call it. The inexperience is probably a big problem for them, right? Lots of red cards over the place, and they've not been consistent. I think their Chelsea's squad is actually a bit underachieving in my mind because
Yeah.
we what they have, especially around the attacking area, it's going to be scoring more goals, doing a bit better than what they're doing currently. But and again, having a new coach to come in mid-season is always a challenge for any new coach. No matter how much Man U seem to do with Michael Carrick. I mean, Carrick is a Chelsea boy. He's been there before, right? I mean, Man U boy, so different team before. But Chelsea, I think I still see them struggling a bit with the games that they have. They still got to play Man City at home, right? The league, right? And of course, you want them to win that because they are home, right? But let's see how that goes. So I still think Liverpool should be 5th and Chelsea 6th for these reasons that I've mentioned. Brentford, Everton is another one as well, where I still see Everton topping Brentford before the season ends.
Before it ends, okay.
Because I think the experience of David Moyes is enough to get them over the line. I think he has enough experience in the Premier League to know how to win some games that you expect them to win, right? Brentford, they're doing well so far, so well so far. Considering where they ended last season, but they're doing very well for themselves this
They're
season.
even overperforming. I didn't expect them to be
overperforming. But I still think Everton would overtake them at some point. They're on the same points, just goal difference, right? That there's difference between both of them. It's just 4 and 2 really. So yeah, I think Everton will overtake Brentford at some point. Between Fulham and Brighton, to be honest with you, I struggle to see anything between those two teams, right? They perform about the same level, where they are. I think they'll be better.
I think they are like the most popular mid-table teams in the last 5 years.
That's where they always end, like 9th, 10th.
9, 10, 8, 9, 10.
Right? So,
if Brighton overperform, maybe 8.
Exactly.
If they overperform, maybe 7, 8. But they've always been around that area, those two teams.
So that's the thing. So I don't, those two teams, I see them, it's probably 9th or 10th. One of them will be that 9th or 10th. I don't know. I don't think they will go above 9th. They might go below 9th, below 10th. One of them might go below 10th because between Brighton and Newcastle and Sunderland, you have the same points between Brighton and Sunderland. So just goal difference. Newcastle is 2 points with -1 goal difference. Bournemouth is 42 points as well. So that's 9th to like 13th, 13th might still change before the end of the league, right? Yeah.
Crespo, what do you think about my Lanonas' ranking?
Yeah. So I already agreed with some already. So
with the first one,
it's going to affect. Yeah. So again, for I think what Ima said, it's pretty on point. The beauty of the Premier League this season is so interesting. I'm looking at the table again. From 7th position, that's Brentford on 46 points, and 13th position, which is Bournemouth, 42 points. That's 4 points.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, no matter what we pontificate tonight, by the next game, it's going to change. But however, a lot of things. But however, I think I like what Imam mentioned about Everton. I think Everton, for me, they are the surprise team of this season. They struggled, almost relegated last season, and Moyes coming in. They're even a great job. They are even looking forward to a chance of going to the Conference League if they do well. If they can knock, well, not saying get to Chelsea, but if they can knock Brentford off the perch, and click claims to that position, they might just, push beyond their weight again and, get some European taste of Europe. So that being said, Everton, I will say 7th, Brentford 8th. Again, like I said, they're all just going to move within these positions in the next few games. But again, the teams that I find I find them to be very inconsistent, is
Okay.
Fulham and Brighton.
Brighton, yeah.
They like you guys said, over the past few years, they are just comfortable in that position. This time
Yeah.
they're giant slayers this week, the next week, mosquito biters, they put City through a hell, and the next game they lose to Sunderland.
It,
They
it's not that
they
bad, yeah,
play they
that's
play
true.
Arsenal. They make it so difficult for Arsenal, and the following week you find them drawing or losing to Leeds. So that's been the story of Fulham and Brighton. So again, probably they will finish just within that same point, like Iman mentioned. So that will be my positioning:
Okay.
Everton, Brentford, um, Fulham, Brighton. Yeah.
Brighton, okay. That's a good one. Thanks so much for giving us that insight. I think because of our time, trying to manage time, we have 10 more minutes to be able to keep it at 1 hour. I'll just go straight into 11 to 15 and try and see how Joshua can chime in on his ranking on that aspect. So Sunderland, I kept them as my power ranking number 11, and that's because they've overperformed so far this season. They are probably going to be finishing at a very comfortable position. They're a young squad, very fearless. They were a little bit affected by the African Cup of Nations, but at least they were able to bounce back. Newcastle is my number 12. They had a bit of injuries and regression last season. And, this season I was expecting that even though they qualified for Champions League and I felt like they were going to bite, but they are still dangerous. So, but I kept them as my number 12th. And, they will still be staying on my ranking as number 12th as well. But the only place where I feel there was some movement on my ranking is Crystal Palace, who is presently 14. They'll move up a bit to finishing at 13th because that's a solid team. Even though they are lacking goals in their last few games, as much as I expected them to score, but I'm not saying that. And they will move up to 13th, while Bournemouth to drop to 14th. Good tactical team, but inconsistent when it comes to results. They still drew with Man U a few days ago. And I kept Leeds as 15, which is still the same position they are in the table today. They continue to have that fighting spirit, and I feel they will survive the relegation. So what do you think, Joshua, about my ranking from 11 to 15? Do you
Yeah.
agree or you completely disagree?
I mean, I kind of agree. Like again, like it's all our opinion, and like they're all right, depending on because of how close 11
Yeah, the
to
points
like
are.
even 18 is. Like everything will see may still switch up game by game. So this analysis will have to be like on a game by game basis. I think Newcastle maybe still finish up ahead. A bit
Okay.
considering I think they're out of all tournaments now,
Champions,
so
yeah.
they may be able
Yeah.
to finish up.
Focus on,
Bournemouth finish here and there, 12, 13 is where they'll finish. Their coach, I think his contract is over at the end of the season, so interested to see what happens there. There's been talks that Crystal Palace are looking to get him because Glasner is leaving. Then I think Newcastle, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace will just be ahead of whoever finishes 15th, which can be either Leeds, Nottingham Forest, or Tottenham Hotspur, depending on whoever decides to fight for it. But you feel like if anyone is going to switch from there to replace West Ham, it's going to be either Nottingham Forest, Leeds, or Tottenham Hotspur to replace West Ham, and West Ham leaves. But again, I think from 15 to 17 will be either Leeds, Nottingham Forest, Tottenham Hotspur, West Ham. That would finish because again, it's going to be on a game by game basis, and
Game by game, yeah.
the distance can still change, right? West Ham is still like it's just what 4 points from Leeds to West Ham, right? So it can still change. West Ham can still survive, but the ones I'm sure is Burnley, Wolves are gone, so it's about who will be the third worst team to relegate this season. So the game last weekend between Nottingham Forest and Tottenham was like a
Tottenham was a big
battle.
decide.
But
Yeah.
Nottingham won and they've just like gone 2 points ahead. So Tottenham still have a lot of tough games. So it's really going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, because West Ham are fighting. Tottenham seems to be the only team not fighting. All these
Yeah.
other teams are fighting. So Leeds are about to draw their way to safety. They've drawn more games than I can remember. And Nottingham Forest also picked up a win. They're doing well there in the Conference League too. So with that maybe affect them. It's left to see, but we would see how it all unfolds, right?
Yeah. So Emmanuel, I just wanted a little bit of a different topic from the ranking, and I wanted to just see your view around it. PSG, because of the number of games that they'll be facing around second week of April, they decided to appeal to Lens, which is the team that is just 1 point behind them in the French league, to give them an opportunity to postpone, or they suggested a date to Lens, which it was rejected. Because if you look at it, Lens themselves, and the league allowed them to have that conversation with Lens. The league itself is looking at the fact that they want to promote a French team to get, further deep into the Champions League, so that at least a French team won it last year, and PSG looks like the only team that can win it, for the French guys. So they really want them to go far, and they wanted them to have enough preparation for their, Champions League leg against Liverpool.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, they ended up postponing the game against Lens to second week in May. I think the game will be played around 13th of May. So I guess my question to you is, how flexible do you think the league can be in allowing teams to really challenge or allow them to postpone games because of a Champions League fixture that is going to be very, very strict for them? Because there will be a 3 days period between when they play their first leg against Liverpool and second leg. So even though on the day that was actually fixed for them to play Lens, they are not having a Champions League game, but they are giving them more days to prepare.
Yeah, I had that news. I had in one of these blogs that PSG went to discuss with Lens. Lens right now, they're 30 contenders in France, right?
Lens too wants to win the French league. They are just 1 point behind.
So they said no because it didn't favor them, right? They said no because, I mean, I can't let you have a good time, have a good time to prepare to play me when I'm fighting you to win the title from you, right?
Exactly.
And I understand that in the past, something similar happened. One of the teams, I don't know if it was Lens or another team, went to PSG to say, can we postpone our game so I can prepare for a different game? And PSG said no.
No, exactly. Nobody will agree. Everybody has
so that's
their own
right
agenda.
now. They've come back to say, unless I said no, and then they went through the league. The league now came out and moved the game, to a different time. So which is if you look at it on the balance of the fact that PSG has said no in their own time. So why would you want the same favor when you said no when someone else had asked you for it?
Somebody asked you before.
That is a bit of selfishness on the part of the PSG guys. I know they have the money and resources, right? So to do whatever they want to do, which is not too fair for the other teams. Whatever you do to other people, you get the same done to you as well. That's the way I see it. But that aside, I mean, it's always good to give, for least to encourage their teams to go for the Champions League if they can. Right, so it is good that the league has come to take a stand and say we want to support it to go for the Champions League. I hope they do. I hope it works out well for them against Liverpool. And as an Arsenal fan, I don't want them to go for it because I know how good they are at this part of the stage of the Champions League. Right, so it was good to see that. I wish such can also happen in other leagues too, like the Premier League and the Spanish league, where because you have a game against a big European team, let's move one of your games to give you more time to prepare. That would be good to see that happen. So it's quite a good thing that will happen because, to be fair to these players, they play a lot of games, right? To be fair to them, too many games happen. I mean, sometimes you have to do this to prepare. You have to travel for these games. Imagine you're traveling from Paris to London to where Liverpool to play a Premier League game, and sometimes you have timing differences too, 1 or 2 hours behind or above. Faster than the other people. And then you have to go and rest and train before you play. So I think for these players, a lot of traveling, lots of too many games, and sometimes too short the time to even prepare for the game. So
exactly.
It's good that the league has come out to support PSG, but I just hope that they can do for all the teams in the France league, because it's not fair that PSG didn't agree when it was their own time. Now they've gone to get the same people that they didn't want to give other people. Right. So that's my take on it. It's a good thing to see. I just hope it's consistent.
Yes.
Every other team, especially when in similar positions as PSG today.
Definitely. Thanks for chiming in on that. So I'll just allow Crespo go on my the tier 4. I call this a relegation scrap group because all I see is downward movement for these guys. So ranking number 16, we have Nottingham Forest. They are fighting because as we speak now, Nottingham Forest is still playing in an European competition and they are 16th. You understand, on the table. So it shows that at least the team still has what it takes to finish above this relegation battle, because it was also a fight for them to go through, to still even survive and still be in the European competition. So I kept them at 16th, and those are some of the things that helped my ranking. I kept Tottenham at 17th. I think they have what it takes to just stay put at 17th. To me, it's still the biggest collapse. The collapse of last season is just slightly better because they won the Europa League last season, but they are -10 on goal difference. They have no identity, and they are not playing with any confidence. So, but at least they should be good enough to survive. That's my own view. West Ham, number 18 in my ranking. They are spiraling downward, but it looks like they can fight. They have a coach that kind of gives them that identity to keep fighting, and we just take it week by week. So for this week, I see them as an 18th on my ranking. Burnley would most likely finish 19th on my ranking because they don't have enough goals for me to be able to get out of this place. So Wolves tried their best, but they will finish at 20th based on my ranking. And they still have the worst attack, one of the worst defenses in this game. So Crespo, just give us your last challenge to this ranking. What do you think about the last 5 teams?
Yeah, I want to agree with you. However, like we've agreed or that we've spoken upon, the team's points are really close. So again, I'll go to 15th just to drag them into the mud. They're not yet out of the mud. Let's drag them back. So Leeds is 33 points and West Ham is 29 points. That's 4 points again. Two draws from Leeds and 1 win and a draw from West Ham changes the whole positioning of these guys. Yeah. So what I did again was I went through the fixtures for West Ham. West Ham is going to be facing in the league Wolves, Crystal Palace, Everton, Brentford, Arsenal, Newcastle, and Leeds on the last day. So So the issue with the fixtures for West Ham is they are not playing people who are comfortable at any point.
It's true. They are all fighting.
They are playing people that ordinarily, if it was a free game, they could win, but they are fighting people who are also fighting for their space. For instance, they are going to play Everton, Wolves, and Wolves they've just chosen not to die. They've just chosen not to die. So they've
That we are
been,
going down, we drag anybody we can.
yeah, they are going down with me.
It's
So
true. It's true.
they are playing Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is trying their best not to be in this mess of one because they're just 36 points. So they're like 3 points shy. They're not yet on 40 points.
Yet.
Yeah, they're not yet on 40 points. Then they are going to face Arsenal that is like, you know what? I'm not going to take any chances because these guys are breathing down my neck. So Arsenal is not going to play West Ham. And we all know that from history, West Ham is the whooping boys for Arsenal. They just always know how to give them 4-5-0. So they are going to play Newcastle again. Newcastle is trying their best to consolidate on where they are this season to at least finish as high as possible. If possible, get Europa something. If they can go unbeaten, they have ability to do that. Then they are playing Leeds on the last day of the season.
Wow.
So West Ham is they're in a big conundrum. I don't know how they'll get out of it, but let's see. The other team that I'm also looking at that is so interesting is Tottenham. Tottenham, they have on paper, when we look at the fixtures they have, and I'll reel them out now, they look like teams they can beat when we look at Tottenham. They're going to face Sunderland, they're going to face Brighton, they're going to face Wolves, they're going to face Aston Villa, they're going to face Leeds, Chelsea, and Everton. On a good day, you don't want to say it's a loss for Tottenham, but the Tottenham of this season can lose to anybody.
It's true.
Yep.
They can lose to anybody. So again, I'm looking at this lineup for Tottenham, and I'm not sure which one they are going to win.
It's true.
It's so sad. So it is going to be a lot of drama to see what happens at the end of the season. So like you mentioned, I like what you have ended with, but I'm looking at Tottenham, I'm looking at West Ham. I'm not seeing them change. So if West Ham is unable to win games, and Tottenham is unable to win games, they're happy. They remain where they are. If Nottingham Forest, because of the many games they're going to be playing and trying to see how they can also do well in Europe, begin to falter, then Tottenham has a chance, West Ham's got a chance, then Leeds, so it's going to be a lot of moving parts from now to the end of the
Yeah.
season at the bottom. So let's see how that pans out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the bottom has the most drama, if you ask me.
Yeah, absolutely.
The top is a bit. A lot of people have kind of just believed that Arsenal should be able to just take all win.
Yep.
But the bottom drama is still going to be happening there within the next 7 weeks. And definitely we're going to get the about it.
The slot for the last person to leave is what is everybody's fighting for. Who is the last?
Yeah, everybody's fighting
who's
for
the third team to go?
Yeah. It's a very, very interesting season. Even in France, they don't even know if PSG will still win it because it's just a 1 point difference. And it's quite close across, apart from Bayern Munich that is clearly running away with the German league. But thank you very much. I think we've been able to do some justice. Thank you for, stretching it out. We've done 4 minutes above 1 hour. Thank you for, giving us all the energy and the banter and also challenging. I like the way we're able to challenge it. It's just that we've not got to the stage where we start shouting yet. You understand? Yeah, so but that's a good one because, I like the fact that we're able to analyze it and, back it up with some analysis. And that's what the channel has always been up about, sharp analysis and big love for, Canadian Hoops and Eyes, Champions League, Premier League across board. Thank you very much. We're able to close it right here with 10:16 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I could say, Joshua, have a wonderful night ahead. Crespo,
Thank
Emmanuel,
you so
I'll
much.
see you guys next week. Thank you for everything and God bless. Thank you.
Thank
God
you.
bless.
Nice one, guys.